Hold on.
You're on a necklace there. We'll cut that out.
Well, I mean,
yeah, we'll
move around a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. Here we are.
And I guess I need to hit record as well. Would you mind hitting record since you have longer arms than I do? Okay, thanks, man.
Let me just. Okay, here we go.
It's like golf announcers.
I don't know why I'm pressing it. Tiger is on the tee box right now.
Oh, what a swing. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of This is My Bourbon podcast. I'm Barry, the host, whatever I am. I don't know.
Yeah, you're the host.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm the tired host. And I got Curtis back this week
Yeah,
for
we
the
do.
first time in a while. And we were going to have Tanner, but Tanner's busy moving his grandparents. Which sounds terrible, but you know what? We're drinking bourbon. I'm not going to think about
Which
that.
is great.
So we kick off the show, as we have started doing recently, with the newest segment, Flying Blind, where we try something we've either never had before or have had before and wanted to revisit.
Have you had before?
I have not had this before.
I have not had before either.
This is Hayes Parker Reserve small batch bourbon whiskey. I am not sure where it's. Oh, it's produced and bottled in North Charleston, South Carolina. My experience with Charleston bourbons has not been positive so far, so that's going to be exciting.
Well, aged at least 6 months.
Aged at least 6 months.
And
so it's not straight bourbon whiskey. It's just bourbon whiskey. 90 proof, which I hope saves it a little bit, but we're going to...
Yeah, and it says, an experience you can spend the rest of your life with. It's that good.
You know, I don't hate the nose. I'll
Really?
be honest with you so far.
Okay.
It's not terrible. It's a little corny. I mean, it has that
corny.
It has that young smell to it, but
has some qualities. It's very sweet.
I was gonna say it's a little floral on the nose, but it's not overly so. Now, the last time that I did this to you, we had to pour this out.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's gonna happen again today.
I don't know. We'll see. But, this one's definitely better than that one. I don't want to say that till I drink it, but.
Nope, it's not. Tastes like orange peel. It just tastes like orange zest and corn.
Corn.
That is the most.
Tastes like it's the most bland.
It is really hot in the chest though for a 90 proofer. I mean, it hits. That Kentucky hug is aggressive.
Yeah, it's not even a hug. It's just like a strangle.
The Kentucky Strangle.
Yeah, Kentucky Strangler. Kentucky Strangler.
All right, wrestler name, I did it.
And now.
There's no finish on it.
There's no flavor.
No.
I mean, there's flavor, obviously, but...
But it's such... I don't think it's even that... Like, it's not better on the second sip, either.
No.
I mean, I get a little bit of, like, caramel...
It's just...
that time around, but...
Yeah. It tastes like that... lemon kind of, citrus kind of.
Yeah, it is extremely citrusy.
And corn and citrus. It's just a one note all the way through. And then it just punches you at the end.
I think the only redeeming quality of it is actually the Kentucky Strangle. But
the Kentucky Strangle, yeah.
But even then, it's so uninviting that I really don't want to drink any more of this.
Yeah.
Is this a dumper?
I honestly enjoy this one better than the other one that we had, but
I think I do too. I think that one was easily
that was
a night of bad bourbon.
Bad bourbon, yeah.
Ooh.
Hayes Parker Reserve. Not a recommend.
That's a pass.
Yeah, just
hard
a pass on
pass.
it. But
spend your money somewhere else on something else. Dang, that was
but worth the try.
Sure.
Yes.
Expand your palate. Figure out what you like and don't like.
Well, nobody should like this.
If you do, all the power to you, because that means that I don't have to buy it and
Well, yeah.
somebody else is. But I'm not buying
But
this
even to
again.
put the name bourbon on it, bourbon whiskey on
Sure.
it.
Well, luckily I only bought it in airplane bottles,
Yeah, no, for sure.
so I didn't shell out too many.
I think that's a really good
many bucks for
idea
it.
on...
yeah,
I think that's probably why you named it that segment this.
Flying Blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's airplane bottles.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes I'll bring in stuff that we, have had before in bigger bottles, but in this case, the name is apt, and I feel like I am going to be blinded by this bourbon.
Yeah. Well, it's just, there's no flavor.
It almost tastes like a candy, like an orange candy. I stand by the orange peel or the orange zest flavor
Yeah, I
that
agree.
I talked about.
Yeah,
earlier,
I mean, it has
but
that. It's corn and orange peel.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say, like, comparing it with your candy
Right.
analogy, like, it's a candy that your 90-year-old grandma pulled out of her pocket
Yeah.
with lint on it and is like, oh, you want
Yep.
my creamsicle? Like, Werther's or something.
I totally get that. I
think that's it.
hilarious.
Yeah, like Werther's cream candy and like creamsicle candy.
Oh
That's
my
what I imagine
goodness.
this is.
Oh my goodness. I totally get that.
Yeah, right?
That's hysterical.
And there's just pocket lint on it. And,
and
anyway.
it's been sitting there for
Yeah,
a little bit, and it's
been there for a while.
Kind of warm.
Yeah.
I'm like, Grandma, I'm not hungry. And she said, you're just skin and bones.
Yes, exactly.
You said, Grandma,
Grandma.
you're almost dead. Sorry. Anyway,
Just leave me be.
That was Flying Blind. And that's a pass for me on Hayes Parker Reserve. I'm gonna get rid of this.
Okay.
But while I do that, what you been drinking recently?
I was just telling you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running low on almost all my bourbon. I've been having Heaven Hill bottled and bond. It's your go-to. I've started picking
One
up
of
on that. Truthfully, that's all I have.
You have an empty bottle of Special Reserve over there.
Yeah,
Empty bottle of Knob Creek.
I mean, I've been drinking Special Reserve, but
It's more like a bourbon bottle graveyard right now than it is like a bourbon cabinet.
I can't say it's a bourbon cabinet. I have like 7 bottles that are just empty.
But you're clearly not going to be drinking those bottles
No,
anytime soon,
so
though.
what he's referring to is I have 2 wild turkey rare breeds, but they're signed by Jimmy Russell.
And they're also the old proof.
Yeah, they're the old
the
proof.
112.6 or 8 or whatever. I can't remember.
0.8.
Okay.
112.8. And then I have just a little pint of Maker's Mark, and I dipped that myself.
Yeah,
so
don't open that.
Didn't want to open
Save that.
And then I have 2 little shooters from Calumet Farm, which when I went on a tour of Calumet Farm.
Oh, did you really? When did you do that?
This was over the summer, probably like a couple months ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
And
that.
we had a tour of Calumet, and they actually gave us a couple
That's cool.
boxes of just little shot
Yeah.
shooters.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll probably have those at some point. I just haven't opened them.
We'll have an off-air conversation about Calumet. But so what I've been drinking is actually more of just a story.
So this weekend.
So this episode is coming out the Wednesday after the Southern Whiskey Society event, which I had said that I was going to be attending, and Lucy was there as well, and got to meet the guys from the podcast as well as some listeners, and just all around good people, and really an incredible time. But so the whole thing about it is that you pay money.
You pay to play.
I pay to play, and I played.
He played hard.
I played, and I think, I'm not even entirely sure that I won. I mean, I think it might be fair to say that I lost, but
You lost, yes. Bourbon, whiskey.
Bourbon won in the end.
Yes.
But so what it is
Bourbon won, Perry nothing.
It's, if you've listened to the bonus episode that came out a couple of weeks ago, Will and the Grease from the podcast talk about what the event is. And it's not so much like you're meeting vendors to get them, like they're not trying to sell you stuff necessarily. Yeah. Like you're just going and you're trying new things. And it was 30 different distilleries, or 30 different whiskeys or distilleries. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. It was a long night. And
obviously
6 or 7 different food places. And one of them was actually OBC.
Oh, okay.
And they brought their little cornbread pancakes with the short rib meat on top. And oh my gosh, it was so good. But anyway, so I got to meet Dixon Dedman from Kentucky Al and the Beaumont Inn. Had a great night with him. I'm not going to go too much into that because I don't want to embarrass him if he doesn't want to. If he doesn't want that information out there. Like I said, Will and the Grease, I was pushing Grease to drink later than he wanted to at that point, but it was okay. We had a lot of fun. Chris Thomas from Made South, who is an incredible guy, Joe Bourbon, Paul Steele from the Steel Speakeasy. I mean, I just can't. So many awesome people from our world that were there, and I spent most of my night drinking the pick from the podcast guys, along with Chris Thomas and a couple of their friends. Shout out specifically to Toad, who was a wonderful guy and picked up mine and Lucy's bar tab one night.
Oh, wow.
While we were down there, which was just super cool of him. But it was a Weller 107 pick, 6.5 years old or something like that, non-chill filtered. I actually have a little bit of a bottle. It's not a whole lot left, but I want you to try it at some point. But anyway, it was a great night. I mean, I had so much bourbon and so much good food, and I am super pumped to go back next year. I mean, like Lucy and I are already making plans for
for sure.
for next year, and like my dad wants to go, and I'm sure Brett wants to go too, and everything. But it's gonna be a killer time next year. But check out Southern Whiskey Society and Made South. They're good people and everything. So that, like I said, it's not really a what I've been drinking. It's more of just a what I've been up to.
Yeah, but what you've been
recently
drinking too.
Yeah. But you know what we should really do? We should really drink more bourbon, because I didn't think that I was going to feel as good today as I did.
But you're feeling
good.
But
I feel great.
Yeah, so he wants to have more bourbon.
Yesterday, I felt terrible.
On his deathbed.
Yeah, yesterday being Sunday, the day after Southern Whiskey Society,
yes.
I thought
it's a day of rest.
It most certainly was.
Yes.
I'll tell you, I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I thought for sure, so I woke up on Sunday morning at about 7:30 Central Time. And I was like, I feel fantastic. Didn't feel hungover, didn't feel nauseous, didn't have a headache or anything. I was like, let's go do this.
Let's do it again.
Let's do this. And I had made plans the night before to record with Will from the podcast to do kind of a wrap-up episode. And it's amazing that I can remember this. I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you.
Okay.
It's amazing that I was able to remember that we made these plans. But I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go drink some more bourbon. You know, I'm totally down for it and everything. We got to lunch. Of course, they put us in the hottest part of the restaurant. The heat's hitting me. I haven't had enough water recently.
Obviously.
I'm like, I'm already sweating. I'm trying to drink a cocktail to try to get the hair of the dog and everything. I take one sip of the cocktail. I'm like, I can't do this right now. Food comes. I was like, this is gonna cure me. One bite of food, I go,
yep,
I can't do this right now.
And that's the story of Perry just going down.
That was the end of the weekend for me, and then we had to drive home. But
oh gosh,
it was rough, man.
And like being stuck in a car, hungover for multiple of hours is no fun.
And like
at all.
I do get a little car sick too.
Well, yeah,
you know, and I mean, even to be the driver of that car, I mean, I was still going whole thing. But anyway,
this has nothing to do with. This is just has something to do with hangovers and talking about.
No,
hangovers.
It's all good.
I had bourbon. I guess that's what made me hangover. So I guess that's how that ties in. So I was a bunch of guys and I, we got a cabin in Gatlinburg, and the night after we were headed back up to Kentucky, and there was somebody talking, and I just vaguely remember. I mean, I was just hungover, just so, you're in a bad mood. And this person just kept talking and talking and talking. And eventually I said, I'm not trying to be mean here, but will you shut the hell up? and and they looked back at me and was like, are you okay? And I was like, there's a headache. You're talking a lot right now. And I just need it to stop.
You don't understand.
Yeah, and
you can't hear the drums, man.
They ended up they did shut up, but I felt bad afterwards. I was like, I'm sorry, that was uncalled for. I shouldn't have done that. But
well, anyway, I had a good time this weekend. I'm gonna do a wrap up episode with Will and the Grease here sometime soon, so be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, we have business at hand, and that's drinking bourbon and talking about it.
Talking lots about it.
So, Kurt, what are we talking about today?
Jim Beam, man.
Yeah, it's Jim Beam. It's a Jim Beam Day. Jim Beam Day on the podcast.
We got everything.
And the reason that we're doing Jim Beam Day is because we are actually going to be reviewing the newest release from Jim Beam, which is the Repeal batch, which is in honor of the way that they made bourbon back after Prohibition was repealed.
Love it.
And
non-chill filtered,
86 proof. I've not tried this yet. I am really pretty excited for it. The last new Jim Beam release that was also non-chill filtered, was the Distiller's Cut, which I love and have a little bit left of as well for us to finish off.
And I remember when we had it, I vaguely remember saying that it tasted like Jim Beam Black to me.
Yes. Yeah, which is kind of what everybody's been saying. Yeah, which is what everybody's been saying.
And that was like a year ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Holy
close to it.
Crap.
It hasn't been a full year.
But we're coming up on the year of our 1 year anniversary too.
Full year.
Sure, but like we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of the show too, though, and I mean that's incredible.
Wild.
This is I think this is episode 42.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Bananas. So anyway, I can't believe that bourbon's been out for almost a year now. So like I said, we're talking Jim Beam.
More half a year, I suppose.
Yeah. We're talking Jim Beam all day today. And the first actual pour of the episode is going to be just regular old Jim Beam white label 80 proof 4-year-old bourbon.
And I haven't had in a long time.
I mean, this is just me killing a bottle that's been sitting at home, and it's not a go-to for me. Yeah. We've had it on the show. We reviewed it on the show.
I'm excited to have it again, though, because it's one of those I always just glance over.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm never like, Jim Beam, white label.
So do you like Jim Beam products in general? Or are they is that brand that you kind of pass over a little bit more?
It's usually a brand I pass over unless it's Knob Creek. If it's Knob Creek, like Barrel Pick or, one of those type of deals, I usually pick it up.
Sure.
Anything else?
Yeah. I mean, like, I would rather buy a bottle of Booker's than buy a bottle of Jim Beam, but Booker's is also 4 or 5 times more expensive than regular Jim Beam is. So I just kind of, I mean, it's not a go-to for me, but I also I really do love some of their higher end products. I think that's where their gems kind of sit. But for, $20 at the Distiller's Cut, $20 for the Bottled and Bond, their rye is also really good. The Knob Creek rye is fantastic. I think that they are the corner of the market as far as like affordable quality bourbons goes. And I mean, this is again the first time in a while that I've had the white label. It smells like a distillery to me. Oh, it has that really distinct. Like a rick house. Yeah, it has that really distinct fermenter and distillery smell to it. It smells like mash to me. which is to say, I mean, that could be, it is just 4 years. I mean, it's not like it's the oldest bourbon on the market or anything, but
you're going into it expecting that.
Exactly. I mean, and Jim Beam too is, I mean, it was so many of our first bourbons.
Yes.
And it's a name that's been around for hundreds of years at this point. And we'll kind of get into it a little bit because I have some wonderful little Jim Beam notes and facts. That I didn't know some of this.
I like it
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it.
Isn't that fun too? Like going back and researching things,
learning stuff. Yeah.
So you're like, whoa, I should have known that.
I really should have known when Jim Beam was founded, and it wasn't actually called Jim Beam originally. It was called the Old Tub Distillery.
Okay.
And it was founded by...
Which I guess goes back to,
Old Tub.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, things we should know.
Mm-hmm. But...
I'm getting a lot of grain here.
Yeah. And actually, there's quite a bit of grain on the palate, too. But it's in such a non-aggressive way.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very, very mellow bourbon to me.
And it is very grainy. I'm not getting a ton of those complex flavors as caramel.
And I mean, I do still kind of get a little bit of the caramel. I'm going to contradict your pronunciation.
It's all right.
But
caramel.
Oh, okay.
My name's Perry, and I
caramel.
pronounce it caramel.
Let's just rip on Perry for an hour. No, it's
sure. While we're at it, so Perry.
Let me tell you about this guy.
I'm just joking.
No, it's fine. I don't think that it's. I just think that it's a overall pretty solid bourbon. If it were one of the, 10 that I had left to drink for eternity, I'd probably be okay with it. I mean, I wouldn't be upset
if I'm
by
choosing.
It,
it's definitely not in that.
No,
but if it's there, I'm having it.
Yeah, like if every rick house caught on fire, and we lost all but I don't know, like some of Maker's Mark and a couple of Heaven Hill and some of Jim Beam. Like I wouldn't be that upset if it were
Barton in 1792. Those two barrels.
There are rumors actually going around that
they better release that shit.
I think they're going to. I mean, it seems like people are really talking pretty heavily about it now. So I was gonna do this bit of news earlier in the show, and I kind of forgot about it. But there's also, and I'm not trying to stir the pot on this or anything, but there is also a rumor going around that Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond is going to be going out of production. And I've heard it from multiple sources. So I'm starting to kind of freak out a little bit about it. So I might be stocking up just a hair coming up soon.
Nudge, nudge,
maybe. Not to freak people out either.
And even if they do stock up on it, it's not like right now. It's not like you're breaking the bank.
It'll be fine. It's $13, $14 a bottle. Yeah. I'll be okay. Anyway. Jim Beam. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Jim Beam. Would you like to learn some things about the history of Jim Beam?
I would love to learn, Kurt.
So it was founded in 1795 by Jacob Beam. And like I said, it was originally named the Old Tub Distillery.
Not Jim?
Not Jim. Jim was actually his grandson, I believe.
Wow.
Or great-grand. No. Gosh, he was like his great-grandson, I think. He was the son of German immigrants, and they were also corn farmers. The mash bill for Jim Beam has stayed exactly the same since its inception. So since 1795, this is the exact same mash bill.
That's impressive.
Right?
Yeah.
That blows my mind. I mean, not that this would be, because this isn't going to be exactly the same as it was, back then, but it's as close as it really could be to that same product. I mean, back then, they were pouring straight from the barrel into big brown jugs and, selling to customers by the barrel and everything. But yeah, exactly. And I think that, if you went through some of those same
there weren't
processes,
regulations.
Exactly. It wasn't until the Bottled and Bond Act that all that came around. But anyway, and later too, Old Tub actually would become one of the first nationally distributed brands in the U.S., and you can still buy it here today. Hey, Marv.
Sure can. Second dog of the podcast.
And it's good. Yes. Dog Junior, I guess. I'm actually skipping a little bit of history here, but James Beauregard Beam, or Jim Beam, would take over the distillery in 1894 from his father, and the distillery was renamed in his honor to Jim Beam Distillery in 1943. The company still uses the same yeast strain that Beam kept alive all throughout Prohibition.
Wow.
He would keep a sample of it in his house in case of an accident at the distillery plant, and he would bring it home every weekend in a jug, and he would keep it alive at his house. And so for 75 years, we're basically drinking the same yeast strain.
This is ridiculous.
Right?
This has put me on like a way more respect level on Jim Beam.
Oh, I mean, they are... And really, after doing all this research, too, I mean, I have gained so much respect for them. They are doing, I think, everything right in this business.
True to...
I mean, they're the number one selling brand in the world, so...
Yeah, they don't care about two people talking about it.
Yeah, totally. When Prohibition hit, it was the only time that Jim Beam didn't distill whiskey. In the meantime, he was I think he was a what do you call it when you're a coal guy? Coal miner. Coal miner.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He was
I was
a
about
coal
to say
miner.
miner, and I was like, that's right.
He was a coal miner and didn't take. And so once Prohibition was repealed in 1933, he went back to distilling whiskey. He rebuilt the distillery in 120 days after Prohibition was repealed.
Wow.
So we're talking December of 1933.
Yeah.
It's repealed. 120 days is 4 months. So by late March, early April,
It was up and running.
it was up and running again. And in 1934, the first post-Prohibition, Jim Beam product was sold. And in 1927, Frederick Booker married one of Jim Beam's daughters, Margaret. And Booker would actually go on to become one of the most widely revered master distillers in modern and bourbon history. And Booker's, of course, is his namesake brand. 2 years after Jim died, his son Jerry Beam, Jerry spelled Jere, which I've never heard that spelling of before. Yeah.
Could you imagine? I'm just gonna have some Jerry Beam.
Let's have some Jerry Beam. Jerry Beam sounds real good to me, Paul.
Jerry.
I don't know why I took that accent on, but
it's all right. Like, not to hate on Jerry, the name Jerry.
No, it's fine. But it was a very strange spelling of it for me.
And Jim's seems a lot better.
Ooh, sorry about that.
Splash for the table.
Don't know how that happened. Hopefully my equipment doesn't
Yeah.
crap out on me. Is this a water-resistant tablecloth there?
Yeah.
Wow. That explains why it hasn't soaked in yet.
Nope. Yep.
Sorry about that there, Kurt.
It doesn't matter.
So
Wipe right off.
We'll take a quick pause here in the report to tell you what we're drinking next, which is Jim Beam Choice, which you can't get anymore.
Unfortunate.
This is it's 5 years. Excuse me, instead of 4 years like the regular Jim Beam. This bottle is from 2006, I believe. It has an 06 on the bottom of the bottle, but I can't find the
actual.
Yeah, I can't find the laser code anywhere. I again haven't had this in a while, but this was. I remember.
Oh wait.
08?
I think so. I could be just looking at random numbers though.
I have no idea.
Well, whatever.
We tried.
It doesn't matter. We tried.
I'll figure it out and
Jim Beam
let you know.
Choice, whatever.
Yeah, sure. I'll figure it out and let you know on later on.
We were literally just looking at numbers on all the bottles and like,
it just has a 4. I don't know where that came
they
from.
didn't write it on there. Jerry,
this note. Poor Jerry. I feel bad for Jerry now. Hi, Mark. So I like this nose a lot better than I do the white label, personally. But Marv, what you got to say, bud?
what do you think, buddy?
No,
He just
you
licked
sweet boy.
You're just giving kisses, aren't you?
Say yeah. He looks a little distressed, though.
Oh, he always does. He always looks concerned about everything. We should post a picture of him somewhere.
Oh, we definitely will. We'll post it on the Instagram this
Literally,
week.
if you see Marv just looks like he's concerned about anything and everyone.
Here, I'll take a picture of him right now because... And then,
Marv, are you...
And then you'll be able to see this at My Bourbon Pod on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter.
What's wrong,
hey, Marv.
buddy?
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Oh, it's so perfect. All right, I'll put you down.
All right. Have a good night, Marv.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll get you some bourbon later.
I like the smell. I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. I like the smell on this one a lot better than I do White Label, is what I was getting at. Mm-hmm. That extra year really has helped.
It does. You get so much more of the baked goods and caramel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But I do think that some of the...
Not as much grain.
Yeah, but it's still present, I think. I don't think that it's,
No, it's not totally gone like you would get with, a Knob Creek and Jim Beam Black.
Yeah, that is much better. I will say, I think the one thing that really separates it is that caramel flavor.
Yes.
For me. It's like everything that the White Label has just gets wrapped in like caramel.
Yes.
And it's really delicious.
It's very good.
It's got a little bit of... Go ahead.
Okay. Like, it just comparatively, it's just one notch above, One notch above the White Label. And I just adding that caramel makes it just a tad bit better. I wouldn't say it's like exponentially better. Sure. It's just a little bit that I really enjoy.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that, too. It's just... This still is not... It's a little thin. I kind of wish that they had bumped it up in proof, too. Now, it doesn't matter because you can't buy this bourbon anymore. But no, I think it's still good.
I mean, I get where they're coming from. Because you look at the total lineup, all in all, and not taking it individually. Mm-hmm. You're sitting there, you're going, okay, we have Jim Beam White Label. We have, all right, here's our Jim Beam choice.
Yeah.
They're looking at their lineup and specifically, okay, where are our progressions here?
Well, right, and it makes sense that this was the one that they got rid of because it's a year older than the White Label, so it's a whole more year that you're not making money off of it, and it's. I think too, what we're getting at, I think, is that it's not significantly different enough from the White Label to warrant it still being in production or still being a product that they regularly put out.
And to counter that, I guess what I would say is, but I get where it's coming from, is from just a strictly product standpoint. Well, if it's not that much different, but it's a little better than what your White Label is, why don't you make that your White Label? However, staying true to the brand and staying true to the mash bill of whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, it's also harder to mass produce something that's a year older than it is a year younger, so it's not like, I mean, they would probably take a cut on their profits if they did up the age. It's the same reason why we'll never see Knob Creek Single Barrel, which I actually had a conversation with Chad and Swan about a few weeks ago. We'll never see Knob Creek Single Barrel go up in age from 9 to 10 or 12. Mm-hmm. Not that there aren't single barrel picks of Knob Creek out there that are 12 all the way up to 15 years at this point.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen anytime soon because they'd be taking a cut. Yeah.
Yeah. They're running a business.
Yeah. Let me just say too, everything that we've had since the Hayes Parker has been exponentially better.
Yes. Way better.
I mean, this is so much. I mean, I would drink.
Which is something you would hope.
Well, yes, of course, but it doesn't have that aggression that Hayes Parker does on the very end of it. But yeah, I like this quite a bit. Anyway, so to jump back into the little report here, Jerry was the first beam distiller to send the product overseas, and what happened was he would send. He would send whiskey to, I think it was troops that were stationed overseas,
okay.
which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And then in 1960...
Sometimes I hope they'll do that for me, but I don't do anything significant enough to do that. So.
We're just designers.
Yeah.
And a podcaster. In 1960, Booker No took over, and that made him the 6th generation of the Jim Beam family to run the distillery, or really just the Beam family.
Yeah.
And some people say that, and actually, it is pretty true, Booker was the one to have invented small batch whiskey, which was introduced with Booker's, which was introduced in 1988. It is an uncut and unfiltered bourbon. Jim Beam likes to say they make it the hard way. Which, like, come on. It's handcrafted.
I like the marketing ploy.
No, I kind of like it too. It used to be that there were about 6 batches that were released each year. Now it's down to like 3 or 4, which is fine. I mean, as long as it's good quality stuff.
Yeah.
And it's also said that when Booker handed over the production to Fred, and shortly before he passed away, he said to Fred, "Don't let them mess with my Bookers."
Yeah.
Which is just because he took such pride in that product. I think it's just super cool.
Yeah. No, that's
anyway.
awesome.
In 1965, the 1 millionth Jim Beam barrel was filled. 1965.
A million.
The millionth was filled. They just crossed like 13 million a few years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bourbon.
Yeah. In 92, Baker's, Basil Hayden's, and Knob Creek were all introduced, and they made up, along with Booker's, the small batch bourbon collection. Booker passed in 2004, and his son Fred, who is the current master distiller, took over in 2007, and that makes him the 7th generation Jim Beam family member to run the distillery, which just
so cool.
Absolutely blows me away. I can't believe that it's stayed in the family for that long, and that they have such a long tradition too of, I mean, it's not just the family thing, like the yeast strain from Prohibition is still around,
wow.
and the same mash bill from 1795 is still used and everything, but
very impressive. And going back to just you said the how many million barrel?
13 million in like 09 or 10, I think. I can't remember for sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back.
Something that would be really interesting that we should figure out is how many barrels of bourbon does it, on average, a single person drink? What do you think
we're
that
really
number
gonna have to.
is?
I don't know because
I'd love to hear a poll, like make a poll for that. Like, what is?
Okay, so here's
How
what
many
I'm
barrels?
here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to research this answer, and by Thursday or Friday, what I'm gonna do is over on Twitter at my Bourbon Pod, I'm gonna throw up a poll, and we'll do a little quiz to see what you guys think the average person consumes in barrels of bourbon in their lifetime, because that number has got to be
I don't know what that is.
bananas.
You think?
Well,
The average?
I feel like maybe we need to. Should we?
And I guess
distill
you have
it
to
down
say
to
average of like the average bourbon drinker, but then you have to define who's the bourbon drinker.
Sure, and then we might also have to distill it further down to Kentuckians. I don't know.
I don't think you need to do that. I just think it needs to be like
bourbon drinkers in their
bourbon
lifetime.
drinker. Yeah,
Okay.
bourbon drinkers in their
That's fair.
lifetime. Just like an average, like us bourbon drinkers.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm just interested in how many that is.
Yeah.
Because then you have to get into the logistics of how many bottles of bourbon would go in one barrel.
I think I've heard that number recently, and I can't remember. I think it's something like 210 bottles
Yeah, so there's that.
in a barrel. But then you have to think about, like, I mean, there are some people who collect and don't drink everything that they buy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and okay, so we're just solely looking at consumed
Yeah, consumption.
bottles of bourbon. Okay.
Yes. Not bought, but consumption.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we'll figure
But
that
that'll
out.
be an interesting number.
Did you want to go with
figure
this
that.
next, or do you want to go with Knob Creek?
Let's go with Distiller's Cut. We'll kind of go down the line, I think.
Yeah, I don't.
Well,
I
guess if we're going down the line, we'd be the Jim Beam Repeal batch, but we're also reviewing that. So
I'm also.
We'll go non-crit.
All right, I'm also close to the end of the report because this about brings us up to modern day. Excuse me. In between Booker stepping down as the master distiller in 1998 and Fred taking over in 2007, Jerry Dalton was the master distiller, and he was actually the first and only non-Beam family master distiller. And now the title has been handed back over to the Beam family. And we were talking about when the 13 millionth barrel was filled. In 2005, the 10 millionth barrel was filled. So they're doing pretty well for themselves.
Well,
you know,
I would say.
yeah. Anyway, so that's my little report on Jim Beam and their history. But I think I love this distillery's history more than most. You know,
you have.
I mean, they're so rich with
history and preservation,
right, and just family tradition too, which is a weird way to put it. But I mean, Jim Beam bourbon today wouldn't be what it is without Jacob Beam developing his family too, developing their mash bill and everything.
Yes,
like they did back in the 1700s.
Yeah,
but anyway. Let's talk about this
Distiller's Cut.
Distiller's Cut. This is a bit of a jump up in proof, but I think we're going to be okay because the Repeal batch is 86, and this is 100 proof.
100 proof,
so,
aged 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, which legally they have to say it's aged 5 years.
Yeah.
Because, you know, government. But it's a little light.
What does that mean?
What's what mean?
Just curious. So
you got to give me.
They're required. Sorry,
audio medium.
Yeah, sorry. So you look at the label and it says unfiltered with a star. It's obviously government. Like you have to put it on there. But then you go back and it says Distiller Cut is only quality screened to remove barrel char pieces from the liquid. This does not change or lessen the flavor in any way. In extremes of temperature, it may appear a little cloudy. This is a normal for a non-chill filtered whiskey.
So non-chill filtered means that you have not removed the fatty acids from it, right?
That's interesting because you see it says non-chill filtered on multiple other bottles, but why does it just say unfiltered?
I don't know, Kurt.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Let me call up Fred No, and we'll talk to him about it.
I mean, I know it's like a little just discrepancy and whatever.
Sure.
But it's just something I noticed.
It's like, what do you want me to...
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
Tell me right now. Anyway.
Well, I also think that, you know, I said before that I could tell that there is something different with non-chill filtering. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't know if it makes that big of a difference at this point. I think it's just it's a bit of a gimmick. It's a bit of a marketing ploy.
Yeah. I'm sure
everything.
You can maybe tell a little bit, but it's not anything.
Sure. Well, I think that as far as like Distiller's Cut goes, I think that it's a good kind of gimmicky thing to put out. Like I'm not upset that this bourbon exists. I think that its quality is, you know, worthwhile in terms of the gimmick that it's kind of associated with, which is non-chill filtering. Mm-hmm. Now, again, does non-chill filtering do anything to it? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I would have to do all of this in a blind flight and let you know then. But there's no real way for me to do that because I can't go to Jim Beam and go, hey, give me the Distiller's Cut, but with the chill filter, and then I'll let you know which one's better.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it makes that big of a difference or anything.
It does,
but do you still like it though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Again, it's like everything that the white label is missing. Mm-hmm. I think that it amps up all of those flavors. increases like just kind of the overall excuse me. And I kind of hate using this word, but like mouthfeel and viscosity of it. Like it just is a much more tongue coating.
Yeah. It's
bourbon.
not a just a thin kind of feel.
Yeah, with a little bit of flavor. Well, not a little bit of flavor. I think the Jim Beam has quite a good deal of flavor.
Yes. I would put the Distiller's Cut kind of in the same vicinity as the Choice.
I see that. Yeah, I totally get that.
But obviously you're getting more proofage here.
Yeah, which I think is what I like more about it, is that it's a higher proof, so therefore there's more flavor on it. And I like this progression that we've done from the white label to the Choice to, and we've of course skipped over like Devil's Cut, and we've skipped over Black and all that stuff, but I wanted to kind of go more throughout the spectrum a little bit, I guess, than I did.
Yeah. And I think Distiller's Cut and Black is kind of
about the same thing.
About the same.
Yeah. I totally get that.
Devil's Cut's just like an outlier for me.
It's fine. It's
It's never
like
my favorite.
No, it's not mine either. And I bought a little 375 of it recently. And it was just okay.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't take me very long to finish it because I wasn't like, oh, I need to savor this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Whatever.
Like, I was just like, oh, whatever. I can get rid of this pretty easily. But I have kind of held on to these Distiller Cut bottles for a little while because originally what they were saying was that it was a limited release. But it seems like people are like, it's still out there in a pretty good
numbers
size. So I mean, it could be that it's just limited to, a year after it was first released or what, but I'm happy to go and buy another bottle. Yeah. I mean, I kind of have to now.
Well, yeah.
This one's empty.
It's done. It's good. But it is funny that I mean, obviously I'm not in the mines or in those meetings, but it seems like they were like, let's just try it. We'll say
try something different.
Yeah, we'll say it's limited release, and if it does well, we'll go from there.
Yeah. So I am going to real quick set up the video for this week, and I'm going to go ahead and say let's not worry about the Knob Creek right now.
Yeah.
Because I think that we've had one thing that was 100 proof.
I agree.
And should we have too much more?
Probably not.
At that proof, it would.
And tell me, Perry, who gets to see the video?
So these videos are available for Patreon subscribers. So if you would like to view our reviews for each episode, you can head to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. And these are actually available for $2 patrons. We have some wonderful patrons so far who have been keeping up with us and all of our little social media stuff that we've been posting and everything. We appreciate you guys keeping us afloat, of course, which is just the stereotypical way of thanking your patrons, other than saying, leaving the light on. You're keeping the light on for us and everything.
Some sort of analogy that we'll come up with.
Yeah, exactly. So our review for this episode is a new release, of course, of Jim Beam. It is the Jim Beam Repeal batch. Again, it is non-chill filtered. It's 86 proof. I'm assuming that it's 4 years old. I'd be surprised if it were anything older than that. It doesn't say anywhere on the bottle. Jim Beam is typically 4 years old. It says straight bourbon whiskey, so it's at least 2, but never know.
I would assume it's probably no more than 4.
It's gotta be
4
years old. I don't know why I'm pouring for myself first. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. And if it's anything, longer than that, then the price point's going to be different. It's going to be more regarded. Like I went to Liquor Barn just on Sunday. Yeah,
Saturday?
It was Sunday. No.
When
Saturday.
The release was?
Yeah, so
yeah,
when the release
Saturday.
was. I went on Saturday, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and I mean, they just had it out on the floor. It wasn't like they were, trying to protect anything. They were just like,
right.
There's everything.
Sure.
And I'm sure I could probably go today and find this.
That nose is really interesting, actually.
Yeah. I'm getting floral.
Actually, you know what? I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. I get a little bit more like barrel char on there. Yeah, it smells a little bit more like smoky.
Okay.
To me.
Yeah, no, I see that. I guess the initial nose was just a quick.
I get a little bit of sweetness on there, though. I could see that.
Yeah.
The color's a little light. I mean, it's 86 proof.
I want it to be darker, but
it is
at what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's
a little watered down caramel. Like
it's all good.
Look, yeah,
it's all good.
It smells great though. I enjoy it.
Sure, I think that the caramel smell actually is really prevalent as well, but it's kind of a burnt caramel as opposed to just that really like Werther's original smell that you would get from like a caramel candy,
yes, of course,
or something like that.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like going from the progression of the Jim Beam White Label to the Choice to the Distiller's Cut, I'm getting a lot more complexity in the flavors and in the smells. I can't say flavors because I haven't tried it yet, but
I have.
Well, good.
That's really interesting.
Smooth.
Yeah, but let's try to get away from the word smooth. Like, why is it smooth? Like there's no.
I guess more or less, I'm saying it's not. It's the balance of flavors.
Sure, and it doesn't have like any alcohol burn on it, or anything. Like it's just a very easy to drink bourbon. First sip, I gotta say, I'm fairly impressed by it.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
And at the price point, I just want to
$18. It's not bad.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's really not bad at all. I'm gonna scoot your mic a little bit closer to you, if that's okay. And out of the way of your face.
Yeah, that's why I had it over there, was because I was like, I don't want to like.
Well, I just wanted it to be more towards me when you're talking, as opposed to like, it over there. And see, look, your levels are so much. This is you.
Oh, wow.
This is your brain on bourbon. And this is, that'd be a good shirt.
This is your brain on bourbon.
This is your brain on bourbon. Yeah, that's be on the lookout for that. That might be coming in the Threadless store here soon. Anyway, there are other things that I would rather buy at that price point, and other things that are cheaper than that I would rather buy, I think.
Okay. So you're referring to Heaven Hill.
I am referring to Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond.
Yeah. Don't act like he's trying to like trick you or anything. He's like, it's one thing. It is literally one bottle, and it is Heaven Hill.
No, that's not entirely true. I like the Heaven Hill Green Label a lot too.
Okay, yeah. So
all right, I see your
Heaven
point.
Hill.
I see your point.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Jeez. This is really good at the price point.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, I think I would go for this.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that it is bad by any means at this price point, but there are just other things that I would prefer to buy that are a higher proof and older.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of where I'm coming from on that. That all that being said, this is a very well balanced bourbon. I'm actually the more that I drink it, we were talking about how there wasn't much alcohol burn. The more that I drink it, I'm getting a little bit of alcohol burn on my tongue. Yeah, just kind of right down the middle.
Yeah, it's nothing,
but it's
crazy. It's just there.
Yeah, it's not really a lasting or overpowering heat. It's just kind of present,
consistent.
Sure.
Heat.
Yeah. I
think it's good.
I do too.
Ratings will get there, but
Well, speaking of ratings, though, we have a review system of nose, palate, finish, and price. It's 4 categories, and each one is out of 5 points. And then we tally everything up for a total out of 20 at the end. This is our... Let me see if I still have it up. No, I believe that we're approaching 50 different bourbons that we've reviewed on the show.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think this is 45 or 46, which is just bizarre.
No, it is wild.
Again, we've been doing
And
this for almost
bourbons.
a year.
That's the awesome
Yeah.
part. Is like different bourbons is what.
Yep. It's crazy.
So funny because like even just going back. I mean, not even a year ago. We're not even a year old. I mean, I just didn't.
You didn't drink bourbon the same way that you do now.
No, yeah, definitely not.
I mean, I don't either.
But with that being said, like,
or I didn't either.
Yeah, no. With that being said, I mean, it really is an adventure and like a journey of like you kind of learning different things.
Yeah.
Like, I would say that I mean, not even a year ago, I was drinking 1792 just consistently, like,
and that was all you were drinking.
And that was all I was drinking. Yeah. And yeah, I would venture out and try some different things, but for the most part, staying with the same kind of flavor profile. And now I'm, you've expanded to, more of the darker, richer notes to the, okay, well, let's try this.
What's sweeter and everything. Well, it's funny you say that too, because like,
and recognizing it.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
The thing is
absolutely.
Like,
your palate's expanded.
Yes. As prior, you really don't recognize it. You just go, oh, well, that tastes like bourbon.
Right. And that's why I've been saying so much recently too, just try new things. Try something that you've never had before. That's why we do Flying Blind now.
Yeah.
Because it's either something you've never had before or it's something that you may have had in the past and had mixed feelings about.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's bad.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
It's just
of course.
trying it and having it.
Yeah.
Is the like benefit.
And that's the only way too that sorry, I'm shaking the table and the phone's right. That's the only way too that you're going to know whether or not you like something is if you try new things. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not ragging on my dad at all, but my dad just drank Maker's Mark for so long. That was the only bourbon that he would have. And every once in a while he would have like Woodford or something like that. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I go, oh, there are so many different things that you should try.
Yes.
And so many great things that you have probably never had. Exactly. And even just Henry McKenna 10 year. At that point when I was telling him, it was readily available.
Yeah.
And so I, had him try a bit of it. And he was like, this is so good. What have I been missing out on for all this time? But again, you just have to try new stuff.
You have to, yeah.
And not necessarily new releases like this, but things that may be new to you.
Yeah. It's a simple fact of, I've been drinking, Jim Beam White Label for 20 years. Mm-hmm. Like, just because that's what I'm comfortable. I mean, as humans, we're comfortable with whatever we try and what we have. And, like...
whatever's safe.
It's just, whatever's safe. And you switch that and you go, oh, well, it's the same. It's bourbon. And let me try, a different brand, a different release of whatever brand you enjoy. So, like... I like Jim Beam White Label. Okay, well, why don't you try the Jim Beam...
Why don't you try Jim Beam Black?
Jim Beam Black, Jim Beam Repeal, Jim Beam,
I think this is exponentially better than Jim Beam White Label.
Yeah, no, honestly, it definitely is.
Honestly, having tried this right next to the Distiller's Cut, I might like this a little bit better. Which is not something that I normally say about a sub 90 proof bourbon, but I think that this is... There is something about it where it just feels more balanced, but also produces more flavor in general. And so far, I really enjoy this.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. You don't know if you like it better, though.
I think I'm going to disagree on liking it better than the Distiller's Cut. Mm-hmm. I think it's more the proofage, and just I like more of the higher proof, more...
Yeah, totally. I totally get that.
But I get the idea in the flavors, as there's more of a complexity in that sense.
Right. Yeah. So, would you like to go ahead and rank?
Yeah, sure.
This? Okay. So our first category, of course, is nose.
Yeah.
So Curtis, what do you think about the nose on this?
And to preface, I just want to... These ratings are going to seem like they're a little low. but I think it's more or less just the progression of my palate.
Yeah, totally.
So I think the nose I really enjoy. You get more of the smokiness and the rick, the barrel. Not a ton. I'm not going to like try to hype it up and say like, oh, that's all I smell.
See, I disagree. I get so much of the rick house in the barrel on it.
I've just had so many other things that I just feel like that.
I think it smells really barrel charry.
Okay.
Which I really
I admire
quite
about
like.
that.
Yeah, I gave the nose a 3.5.
Okay.
I think that it has a lot of really good qualities to it.
Yeah, and for that, with that being said, we're in the same range.
Yeah.
I was going to say it was a 3.
Okay.
And looking, and
you guys can see me on Patreon, by the way, typing out each of these notes as
and I
keep going over to my computer to try to, write everything down.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with it.
You're going to stick with the 3? What pushes me up a little bit is that it just smells more robust to me.
Okay.
And I think that the distiller's cut, for whatever reason, doesn't quite have the fullness on the nose that this one does. And really, I think that the palate's a little bit fuller too, which is something I'm amazing myself that I'm saying this going from 100 proof to 86 proof.
Yeah.
Because usually it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Usually you're going, oh, it tastes thin. It doesn't have any of the flavors or anything. But I think that this is, I'm really kind of blown away by this personally. And, part of it could be too that the price is so good.
See,
I mean, at $18,
yeah.
it's not terrible.
That's part of it, though.
It's not terrible.
I go. I struggle with it because I go, all right, if I'm solely individually putting something off the price, if I'm basing it off the price, then you're sitting at like, 3s, 3.5. Like,
I'm going to pour a little bit more just so I can
get
a little bit. Do you want any more?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. 'Cause I would like to have a little bit more flavor
and
on the palate.
Obviously, I think price has to go into account of what you're having. Because like,
or else you would have vetoed that category a while ago.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying like price has to have. So does that affect our nose palate? See, I don't think price should affect it.
I don't. It doesn't. It doesn't to me, at the very least. I mean, I've always been, I've always tried to grade everything independently of
that
one another. Yeah.
In terms of price, I think you have to take into account the others. But
sure, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot. I will say there is not very much in this price range that has this amount of flavor.
No. Yes.
Now, but if we're talking about proof,
so it's almost as like if our price range is a 5 or like a 4 or 5, and our kind of nose palate finish is kind of on the lower, I feel like that's more of a recommend.
I would say so too. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
At least a try.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think again, you at least need to try this at some point.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be at the top of your list or anything.
No, yeah.
But I think that it needs to be attempted.
Yes. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I gave the palate also a. Actually, what'd you give the palate?
I'm gonna give a palate a 3.5. I think the palate just adds a little more to it. You get the nose. I mean, you put it on a higher scale than I did, just because I had more of the floral, but a little bit of that char.
Well, but I got so much more char on it.
See that
and I don't. But I will say, you know what? I originally gave the palate a 3.5. I'm actually going to bump it down to a 3.
Okay. That's funny that we.
I know. It is weird, but for me, the palate is really nice, but it leaves kind of a weird coating on the tongue. Do you get that? It's kind of like a stale coating, like stale bread.
I'm not getting the stale. I get the coating.
Yeah. That's the only downfall for me, but I think that everything else is really quite engaging and really pretty delicious too. I mean, I just think that like this weird stale note that I'm getting isn't as
inviting.
It's not as inviting. Yeah. That being said, the finish for me is going to be the lowest score. I think the finish is a little lackluster, personally.
Yeah.
It's almost non-existent.
Yeah.
Like it maintains a little bit of the flavor from...
It almost turns to water.
A little bit, yeah. But it does maintain a little bit of the flavors. It's like if you took like an ice cube. No, it's not quite that. It's like if you added like a couple droppers full of water into this, because it still maintains some of that flavor.
I would say it's like you added an ice cube. For me, it's
no,
like
and I totally,
add an ice cube.
I totally get that, but like when I add ice to bourbon, it gives it a really strange flavor. Like I can't qualify it right now because I haven't taken the because I haven't had ice on bourbon in a while because it's just I don't like drinking bourbon that way. But anyway, my point is that I don't think that it quite has that to me, but it does have that little bit of water added to the overall flavor.
Yeah.
And I would personally give the finish a 2. It just doesn't have it just doesn't have a whole lot there. But what would you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 2 too.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's I think it's appropriate.
The finish isn't there.
Yeah.
I contemplated saying 2.5, but that's
I don't think that it's worth a
2.5. Yeah,
personally.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Now the price though, I gave a 4. I think that it's a really solid price.
A 4.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the exact same score.
Same ratings except the nose and the palate.
We both gave it a 13.5 out of 20.
Yeah.
I honestly
decent.
Yeah,
it's good.
I'm not gonna not recommend this because I think that it is something that you should try.
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend it because the price is so good and what you're getting at $18 for this, great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Like, no, I'm gonna give it a recommend as well. Even if it's not in comparison to other products in that price range.
Yeah.
One of the things too that's I think is, and I'm hoping that this is in line. I mean, we were talking about how Distiller's Cut originally said that it was a limited production release. This is also supposed to be a limited production release.
Really?
So I would assume that it's something that you're going to want to pick up. So I think look, at a collector's item at $18.
Yeah, you might as well.
I mean, that's stupid.
Yeah, you might as well.
I mean, I can't give it a 5 because I know how it tastes.
Yeah,
but I think that 4 is really appropriate for.
It's really interesting because it's like, I mean, it's interesting because I enjoy it. Why call it? This is more of a beef of not the product, but more of the marketing of the product. Like I'm sitting there going, why call this limited edition? Yes, maybe it's going to be, I guess, limited edition in the sense of it's only going to be here for how long?
Sure,
but
I hope what Jim Beam does. Excuse me. I hope what they do is they kind of follow in the footsteps of the Whiskey Row series from Old Forester, and this gets replaced by something else. So, like we have a 1960s era Jim Beam product that comes out.
Yeah, it's something like an ode to tradition.
Yeah, because I think that we're all so interested in what
the tradition and and the back history
and
of,
what
like,
the bourbon back
yeah.
then tasted like.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it is only appropriate for them to keep doing things like this. One of the oldest distilleries out there.
Yes, I can't agree with you more.
Yeah.
In the sense of, I want more of these.
This should be the first in a
like
line.
a little back.
Yeah.
Like, and in that sense, I'll agree they're limited edition.
Yeah.
But I guess the connotation you get with limited editions are, these are something that are going to be through the roof and like, just
Sure.
take your breath away.
But I also, it doesn't. We're both coughing. I don't know why. Yeah. It doesn't bother me though that this isn't the best thing I've ever had.
No, not at all.
You know, like,
it bothers me that it's called limited edition.
I think that's fair.
It should be like the tradition edition or some
tradition edition.
Yeah, or something like that.
Hashtag tradition edition.
Because that doesn't give you off. It leads you. It doesn't give this weird.
Or even if it were the tradition series.
Yeah, the tradition series or something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't give off this sense of, okay, what I'm about to have is so limited and so great that I'm gonna, be like recommending all of this any day, But with that being said,
I would still recommend this though.
Yes. Well, yeah. With this being said, like, that's just, it's not about the product, it's about the marketing of the product.
Sure.
And I would say I would recommend this to anyone that I came around.
Yeah.
Just to be like, hey, it's cheap. It's at a good price point.
Yep.
And it's a really good value.
In anticipation of them doing some kind of series with this, I'm probably going to buy another bottle.
Yeah.
Meaning that I will probably drink this one and save the other one because it's cheap enough to buy two of and not worry too much.
You know what's
about
funny?
It,
so here's what I kind of get from it is Wood for Reserve has their Masters Distillers, which is like their experimental series. To me, this is like their version.
This is better too.
Yeah, this is better because they don't put it at a price point at like $100.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that if they had put this at the price of the Cherrywood smoked barley, I would have been like, absolutely not. Pass.
True. With that being said,
pass on this.
They're not trying anything like super different.
No, but I do appreciate the history that went into this. I appreciate the way that they're trying to bring something back that people may and probably will not have the opportunity to try. Yeah. Because the idea, I think, behind this is that, we don't have enough product that's available for you to try the bourbon that came out in 1934.
Yeah.
After Prohibition. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is as close as we're going to get.
Yes.
To that.
It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that there are so many different factors that go into me recommending this, but I'm going to give it a really hard recommend. I mean,
Yes, I will recommend this.
I can't. It's not a soft recommend by any means.
No, it's a hard recommend.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the price point,
you can't go wrong.
No.
It's hard. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat.
Definitely go.
Well, anyway, we're going to wrap up the video over here on Patreon, which you can see at patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. Again, become a $2 patron, and you will be able to do that. I'm going to say hello to all of our patrons who can actually see this. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. That wraps up our review of the episode. So now we have to move into tips and bits.
I like it. I like it.
Kurt, what are your tips and bits for this week?
My tips and bits are going to be, if you have ever tried Lockhart's pomade, and I will say this is more...
Is that your new product?
Yeah. And I mean, this is more geared towards the men and having, grooming the hair and all that.
Sure, yeah.
But Lockhart's pomade just does it well. They've always... I've been using it for about 4 or 5 years, and they just have some really good products. They always are kind of creating new things, different kind of combinations. The smells of it, the scents, really good. So, I mean, I just would recommend that. It sounds like we're being like
paid
but to say that,
it's
but
fine.
it's like
well, it's funny. I just switched over to Dove Men Plus Care shampoo and conditioner.
Oh yeah,
and it's fantastic.
Okay,
dude. I love that stuff. I love being able to shampoo and condition at the same time.
Do you use pomade or I mean
I use Axe actually.
Axe, really?
I use. I can't believe I'm saying this. I use 2 different Axe hair products.
Okay.
There's a natural and then a messy look.
Yeah.
And so I can't believe I'm saying this on air.
I mean, I
use the natural for the base, and then the messy to kind of give it a little bit more hold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
So there's one guy who follows us. His name's on Instagram, at least, SoCal Tomato Guy.
Oh yeah.
And he always gives me a hard time about my hair. He goes, "Do you want a haircut?
Really?
Haircut?" Yeah. He lives out in California.
That's funny.
He's like, "So you're gonna get a haircut?"
Just to relate to the SoCal, you said.
So yeah. No, I just don't know where you're going with this. That's why I gave you the face that I did.
So there's a company called Birds that is from California.
Okay.
And they have some really good pomade too, and like hair care products.
Cool.
I have their shampoo, conditioner, and pomade. That stuff's really good, and it's such a sweet smell and it's just a really nice product.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Patreon there, and you should definitely go try it.
So my tips and bits for this week, I don't have anything like super specific, but
go see strangers.
Go see strangers pray at night.
Yeah, which is funny. So, not to like get on another tangent or anything.
It's all good.
My brother and his friend went up to Northern Kentucky just the other day
and saw where it was filmed.
Yeah, and saw where it was filmed.
My gosh.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh yeah,
Joey."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And they have a bunch of pictures for it, and met two of the people in mass. I mean,
one of them was not Emma.
Yeah, no, Emma.
So
Emma wasn't there.
they met Damien and
met the other
the
two.
girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So just small world. Because they told me about it, and I was like, "Oh, is Emma going to be there?" And they were like, "No, I don't think so."
She went back to college.
Oh, okay.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't have anything really super specific, but I have. This is such a weird thing to get off on. But I, over this past weekend, was so enamored by the kindness of people. And just getting at Southern Whiskey Society and just getting to be able to be around good, genuinely kind-hearted people was so refreshing with some of the stuff that's going on in our world right now. And it honestly did make me just kind of step back for a second and go, I am so fortunate to be able to recognize that. Not that I'm able to receive that from other people,
yes,
but just that I'm able to be aware of other people and their genuine kindness.
Yeah.
And I'm not a subscriber to having a mantra or whatever, but if I had to, distill something down to the way that I approach the world is just be kind always, no matter.
Hmm?
I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to just be kind to other people. And we're going through a lot of stuff right now in the world. And again, I don't want to get into specifics on it because that's not what we're here for.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's going to get us through this is just being nice to other people and being kind.
Yeah.
And everything.
And just to add on to that, I think that's a testament to you went to the whiskey, the Southern Society.
Southern Whiskey Society.
Yeah, Southern Whiskey Society. And their hospitality, their kindness, and all of that. I think that goes across as a whole to the bourbon drinker. You know, in that sense, to the bourbon culture, be good.
Yeah.
Be good to people.
Yeah.
Kind of that sense.
I mean, it's such a stupid sentiment, but we really are all in this together.
Yeah. No,
I mean, at the same time, we're trying to make it through and, figure out how to be, in coexistence with other people.
Yeah, it's almost as like sort of like a be bourbon, be good, Just to give you another shirt.
I like that too. Yeah. I like that too. Anyway, I'm not trying to get on a soapbox or anything, but that's my tips and bits for this week.
And make that a shirt.
And
be bourbon, be good.
Bourbon, be good. So, Curtis, what are your social media plugs?
I always forget these things.
I almost said, "What are your tips and bits for this week?" And I realized we just did that segment.
So Instagram, I am KurtCon, and on Twitter, I'm Kurt_Con15.
You have to look up at least one of them so you know what the other one is, right? Yeah, I thought so.
I do it every week.
Thought so. I am at pritter1492 on all social medias. If you want to follow the show, we are at My Bourbon Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you want to become a patron of the show, you can head to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast for as little as $1 a month. And that really does help us out. We are getting super close to being fully funded by the listeners, which would be...
We need like a little like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are patrons so far, we really do appreciate everything that you are doing for the show. If you want to find our apparel and merchandise, you can head to bourbonshop.threadless.com, which is a good time. I'd appreciate anybody who has bought from there. Of course, give us a 5-star rate and review on iTunes or wherever you listen to the show. I think that's about it. Thank you for listening. Of course. Yes.
Of course.
Like I said recently, we are really getting close to our 1-year anniversary, which is bonkers. I cannot believe that we have been doing this almost every week for a whole year.
Yes.
Oh, jeez. Just blows me away.
Yeah.
But again, we wouldn't.
And that's a testament to you, man. Like,
To me?
That's
thank
honestly
you.
a testament to you. Like, you have been doing it every week. I do it,
every week, sometimes multiple a week.
Yeah,
depending
exactly.
on whatever.
And I mean, I would like to say I've been there quite a bit. You've
been there for, I would say probably about half of the time.
for the home episodes though.
Yeah,
I think that's a testament. But dude, you really show out and get the guest speakers and all that.
Yeah,
so.
and I want to say too that So I had this really kind of short-term goal with this show originally. Like it was, we're going to put out a few episodes, we're going to see how it does, and then things kind of started gaining traction, and I was like, well, I am really enjoying this. Mm-hmm. Other people are really enjoying this. We're going to do this for as long as we can.
Yeah.
And that for me is just kind of aside from the fact that I love doing this and it brings such joy to me to be creative in this space. Mm-hmm. The fact that other people have latched on the way that they have.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what has kept me going every week for the past 42 weeks, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's I want to say too, sorry to interrupt you, but I've had a couple, anybody does, I've had moments of doubt,
Yes,
but I've had a really good community of bourbon drinkers and friends and listeners and everybody who have been supportive through all of that. And I think that we're on the upslope in terms of this show.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. I think that we have really found our stride.
Yes.
With the show. Not to pat myself on the back too much or anything, but I think that we're at a really good point in the show, and I, again, don't have any intention in quitting this anytime soon, because
agree.
this is one of the most fun parts of my week. Every single week, even just editing. Some people will go, "Oh, editing sounds so boring and everything." No, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
because then I get to go back and relive everything exactly, and everything that I've done. And I've never done anything quite like this in terms of a project.
Yes,
you know, I mean, I've done projects that have lasted a couple of weeks, but to do something
for a long amount of time,
52 weeks, that's crazy.
Wild.
I mean, I'm kind of blown away by my commitment to
yeah. And
I'm surprised that I stuck with it for
it's
this
awesome.
long.
And I mean, I'm not. It really is a testament to Perry, because he has kept all of us on it and has been able to do that. So
well, I appreciate
it's really appreciative to you, and
I appreciate you guys wanting to be a part of it too. Like even Chad and Sarah. You know, I mean, they're so
all the guests, all the people,
and
the listeners,
anybody who has been busy but has found the time to just sit down with me for a couple of hours and just talk and drink bourbon. I mean, that
some of the best moments.
It's crazy. I mean, I've met more people and made more friends, I think, in the past year than I might have ever made in my entire life. So I'm sorry to go.
And
on
with that being said, I'll leave this up to Perry, but I think that a good sign off for us is, yes, we have the I'm Perry, I'm Curtis,
right.
I'm Tanner. I think be bourbon, be good.
I like that. Well, yeah, we'll do that, because we've never done that before, and I think that that's a good fitting end.
I think it's like
to this show.
Yeah. At least the show.
Yeah. I may be Perry, and this may be my bourbon podcast, but at least for the next few days.
Yeah.
Be bourbon, be good. Cheers.